Hello family, welcome or welcome back to my channel. It's your baby girl Gloria. Thank you for watching me today. Today we're going to be talking about everything you should expect in a care home. I'm really sorry I'm not going to be filming any part of this video in my actual work. I'm not going to be showing you anything from my work, but I'm going to be telling you everything you should expect. It may not be the same because there's no two care home, there's no two workplace that is exactly the same. Even if it's the same company, the same owner, there's no way everything is going to be the same because you have different manager, different staff, different residents. So it's just a guide to what you should expect if you're coming to the UK to work in any care home or even care homes all over the place. You don't know what it entails, and even when I was trying to come into the UK and to be a care home nurse, I never knew what to expect. There's this issue of people thinking care home staff or people who are in care home are less important than those who are in NHS. That is not true. It's not true. You are still registered nurse. You have the same qualification someone who is working in NHS needs. It's the same qualification someone who is working in care home needs. The only thing is you do things differently. You are still a registered nurse. So disclaimer, I'm not going to be taking you to my work or bringing you along with me, filming in my home, because I don't want any legal aspect of patients, staff, nurse confidentiality, because confidentiality is taken very seriously in the UK, and I'm not going to breach that. I'm not going to break that rule or break that law or put my pain or my professionalism into jeopardy. I will just make sure I explain this to you as much as possible, and I hope it gives you an idea of what to expect in your care home. I've worked in 2 care homes, and the things we do in this care home compared to what we do in my previous care home is extremely different. Is up to 80% different. So you don't expect the same thing in your care home as my own care home, but just to give you an idea of what we actually do as a nurse, as a registered nurse in a care home. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please, before you go forward, check your subscribe. That subscribe button down, is it still showing red? If it's showing red, that means you've not subscribed. Just press it. That's all. You don't even need to do anything. Once you press it, you're subscribed. It's free. It's just one click. So what are you waiting for? Thank you so much for subscribing. Now let's get into the video. Normally, you know the requirements. You need to be a registered nurse. You need to have your PIN. Even before you have your PIN, when you come in, you're a pre-registered nurse. But let's start from the level of being a care home nurse. You're already a registered nurse. You've got your PIN. What are you expected to do as a nurse in the UK? Ordinarily, in my own home presently, we usually you are expected to resume 15 minutes before 8 o'clock. I'm just walking down to work because my work is not so far. It's just 6 minutes walk and 2 minutes drive. So that's like half 7. I leave home half 7, so I get to work before 8, probably 15 minutes or at least 20 minutes to 8. That's me looking fresh. Just wait for when I close. That means you should clock in. There's something we call clock in. Some will have our fob, which you just swipe, your name, your detail comes, and you click clock in. In my previous home, we usually use our thumbprint to show that you're in, and whenever you're leaving the premises, you need to clock out. That shows when you're in, how many hours you're doing, and it also helps your payroll. It is very important to remember to clock in and clock out. If you don't clock in, talk to your admin to say, I've forgotten to clock in. It may not be clocking in your home. There may be something else you're going to be practicing. But in my present home, you're expected to clock in 15 minutes before 8. Sometimes it may be later, it may be earlier, it doesn't matter. But if you're later than 8 o'clock, if you come after 8, even 8:01, you get 15 minutes deducted from your work. If it is like 16 minutes past, you're going to get 30 minutes deducted from your salary. So if you clock in like 8:01, you get 15 minutes deducted from your hourly pay. If you clock in after 15 minutes, like 16 or 17, you get 30 minutes, and it goes like that. So you don't want to be late. You don't want to be losing those pounds. You know, what is 1 minute? So as much as possible, you try to come in 15 minutes before 8. And what will usually happen 15 minutes before 8 is we do handover. In my present home, it's so organized that before we leave, or before the nurses who are on night and before we take over, we all sit in a very open place, usually the dining, wherever is a common area. We sit there every morning where we do handover. The night staff will tell us everything from resident 1 to resident whatever. tell you everything about them. So nurse by nurse, if you're 3 nurses on night duty, 2 nurses, everybody will hand over from their floor. Presently in my home, I have my own floor. Yeah, I have my floor, which is not like I can't move to other floors, but generally if I'm on duty, that is the floor I usually work for continuity, and it helps you to know your residents more, helps your confidence, like you know what you left behind, like when you're jumping floors. In my former home, I had no floor. Other nurses who are older, they had their own floor, but we the new ones now, the newbies, they just fling us anywhere we are needed. So there's this issue of you don't know where you're going. But this particular one, I already know where I'm going. Although sometimes they may be short on other floor where you have to move. It's not a problem. We see the same home. So some home usually have 1, 2, 3 floors, or different place where they just is different resident on different floors. You're not all together like an open ward. So they can be floor 1, they may be different name, floor 2, ground floor. So generally I know my floor. So the nurse that was on your floor over the night will hand over to you, so that you know what has been done, what happened, who had loose to, who was sick over the night, was there anybody that has been to the hospital, was there admission, is there anything you need to know that has out of normal, did they sleep, did they not sleep? Because if you don't know if your resident has slept or has not slept well, during the day they may be sleeping and you're like, oh, are they feeling well, why are they sleeping? But if you've gone through the handover, you know that they did not sleep over the night. Does it make sense? So handing over in the morning is extremely important. My former home, we don't do the 15 minutes thing. Anybody will just see each other like blah 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 blah, we just say it verbally. Some they will not even hand over to you, they will just go away. But this one you have to sit, hand over properly, like hand over properly, and within that 15 minutes to 8, the night staff will already check. We have a place where we write nurses in charge, so we take turns to be nurse in charge. You already know you're going to check the board. There's a board where they'll write your name. If I'm the nurse in charge, I'll be nurse, staff nurse Gloria. Otiko is the nurse in charge, and the one at night, the name will be there. So when you're coming, you're checking the board to know if you're the one who is going to be the nurse in charge. And when you're the nurse in charge, you know your responsibility is just like being in charge of everything that is in the whole home. You're going to be the one that will be reported to if someone is going off sick. If somebody has called off sick over the night, you're going to be the one that will be informed. You're going to be the one to do the allocation for the next day. You're going to be the one covering the shift. You're going to be the one, though if you have a deputy, things can be easier for you, like they will do most of those things, but being the one in charge, you have most of the responsibility. My present manager is so proactive that during weekend she still calls, even though she's not coming to work. So during the weekend, she's going to call the nurse in charge. We have phones on us. All nurses, we usually carry phones on us for communication. She will call to take, like, is there anything that she needs to know over the weekend? Was there an admission? Did we lose any resident? Was there any major thing? You, the nurse in charge, you're the one who is going to be the one to be like the first point of contact before the manager. Even if somebody from outside is coming, you're going to be the first one to attend to them before the deputy or before the manager. Do you understand what I'm saying? Just like the nurse who is just in charge of all the affairs. It's not like you're not the deputy, you're not the manager, but you're just the one who is in charge of all the affairs, and the next day and like that. So that is when all this take place, either before or just within that period. Also, you need to do something we call, you need to count your control drug. You know what control drug is? Those drugs that are cupboard inside cupboard. So because we used to have a lot of control drugs, each floor depend. My former home, it is one floor that keeps all the control drugs, but my present home, each floor has their own control drug cupboard, control drug book, and you need to count, make sure it tallies. You need to countersign by 2 nurses every morning and every night. Accountability. Don't allow anybody to like corner you into saying you should sign before counting, even if you trust them, because if there's any error or any issue, there's shortage, police can be involved. Control drug problem can make you lose your pin if you're not being careful. So in the morning, we count our control drug, and after the end of the shift, you count your control drug also with the other nurse before you leave. So during this period, you've counted, you've taken over, you've counted your control drug, then you're ready to begin your day. And once you're beginning your day, everybody will come out of the meeting or from the handover. You now go to your carer. Usually you have carers who will be working with you as the nurse. It may be 4 carers, 3 carers, depending on what is applicable in your home. So usually if I have like 4 carers working with me with 1 nurse, it can be, I can have like 16, 11 residents we are going to share among ourselves, or that we're going to look after on my floor. So we the nurse will now go to the office. We have our own offices where we'll now hand over what we've been handed over to. We'll hand it over now to the carer. Now, you know, you're not going to be going into the nursing aspect. You're just going to be going to the general aspect of things your carer needs to know. Then you go through the resident one after the other again. Who has had bowel movement, who you feel is constipated, who is this, who is that. You hand over everything, and that is where you identify your resident of the day. Resident of the day basically is someone who that day is going to be the one who they're going to clean. They clean all the rooms every day, but they're going to deep clean the room, arrange the wardrobe, clean the bed, remove, you know, they're going to do deep cleaning. You the nurse, you're going to have to update the care plan from section 1 to section 0, mobility, nutrition, all the care plans. You're going to update it to see what has changed in the last month, medication that has changed, mobility has it changed, sleep, behavior, everything. You're going to update the care plan. It can be either you have your folder or you have do it online. For me, we still use our folder. So you're going to update the care plan monthly, month by month, and that is when you're going to weigh the resident. If it is a resident that you're still checking the weight, mostly under normal circumstances, every resident gets weighed every month. But if they are unwell, they can get weighed 2 weekly or weekly if they are losing weight, and some they no longer need to be weighed if it's towards end of life, or if you see that weighing them will be of no medical benefit to them. So that is when you identify your resident of the day. Then you tell your carer that today our resident of the day, they always usually know, depend on your home. My previous home is just the day. If today is the first, your resident of the day is going to be number 1. If it's second, number 2. But here there's a way they do it, and it is still really organized. So we have resident of the day Monday to Friday except Wednesday, because Wednesday is the day when the doctor comes in. If you have residents that are not feeling well, on Tuesday we usually make the notes and we send it by fax or by email to our general GP. Every resident in the care home has got their own GP, their own doctor that sees them. Just like we did not, people outside also, we have our own practice where when you go to the hospital or when you go to your practice, those are the doctors that sees you. So each resident also have their doctor that sees them. If there's any concern, if there's anybody you want them to see, on Wednesday they will usually come in and see, change medication, do tests, take blood, and do all those general things you want them to do for you. So on Wednesday we usually, in my present care home, don't have resident of the day, and the weekend also we usually don't have resident of the day. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday we usually have resident of the day, and that day is specifically for that resident. That is the day like they get pampered, they get special attention. It's not like everybody don't get attention, but you know what I mean. So that morning you're going to tell your carers the resident of the day, and then they are the one who, or you, will get the weight that day, so you can include it in your weight and your care plan, because it's very important, your nutrition care plan. And there is where you catch up and you just delegate. Delegation is extremely important as a nurse. If you think you want to put everything on your head, my dear, you're going to get burnt out. So my present home is so organized that each group has a team leader. You see, there's the manager, there's the deputy, there's the nurse in charge, there's the nurse, there's the team leader, there's the carer, there's domestic, and so on and so forth. So each team, if I have 4 carers, there's always someone who is going to be the team leader, maybe the person that has been there for longer, or somebody who has got SVQ3, SVQ2, someone who has got that knows the floor very well and has a lot of experience. Usually just the most senior out of them will be the one who will be in charge of that team. So they will be the one that the carers will automatically report to before they will report to you. But my previous care home is not like that. All this thing I'm saying is very different depending on what your care home does. So if it's not like that in your care home, it's fine. It's just to give you an idea. So my present care home, there's this delegation of duty. So I have a team leader. I will always say, you're going to be the one who is going to be the team leader of this floor. And if anybody's maybe doing things that you don't like, or they are the first, like if they're going for their break, sometimes they can't tell you, it is that team leader who they will usually contact. They usually know what to do. Sincerely speaking, the carers are so good. They're so hardworking. In fact, kudos to any carer that is watching me, or if you know anybody who is a carer, they usually know what they are doing. They are usually hardworking. And one secret I want to tell you as a nurse is, the key thing is not to make your carers your enemy. Don't make enemy out of your carers because they can uproot you, they can deal with you. Do you understand me? Don't make your carers your enemy, but don't allow them to bully you also, because some homes, if you are in a home where unfortunately your carer are the one who is controlling the home, sincerely speaking, you will not last in that home. Even if you're going to last in that home, you're going to be frustrated. If you're lucky to be in a home where the nurses have a say, be happy and stay there. Be happy and stay there. But one thing that will even be one of the reasons why you will want to change your job, or why you want to take your bag and run, is if you're in a home where you have no say as a nurse and the carers are the one who are controlling the home. Even the manager does not have a say in that home, you're not going to last. Because especially if you now become enemy to one of them, forget it, you're not going to last in that care home. There's no place where carers are not, maybe somehow they will be bitchy, they will talk about you. It's still normal. But when they now become your enemy, my sister, my brother, your stay in that home is not going to last. So we've handed over now. Everybody will now begin their activity. You as a nurse, this one I'm staying is still like 8:30 past 8. There's a lot of things to do, but you need to calculate. And once you're so used to it, it becomes very easy. Immediately you start your shift, you've handed over, you've delegated, you now want to check. I usually check my communication book. You have your diary and you have a communication book. In my home, I started a communication book with my other nurse. If I'm not there, the other nurse is there. And I usually write everything that has happened that are important that I need to hand over, because there's no way the night nurse will remember everything. If maybe a relative had come a day before and has complained about this or had said this, I usually put it in my communication book to the next nurse so they know how to continue the care. And there's a diary. In the diary is where you're going to write the things you want to do for the day. If you want to phone the doctor on Tuesday, you go to Tuesday, so date. If your resident has got an appointment, maybe ophthalmic appointment, maybe dentist appointment, you go to the diary and you write it. So in the morning when you're coming, you're checking your diary. What have you got to do? What are the things that you know you have to do and you don't want to forget? You go to your diary, and once you've done it, you keep ticking. So in the morning, you want to know, is there someone who is critically ill? Somebody has developed one illness over the night and did not happen yesterday, or something you know you need to attend to urgently. Before you even start, after the handover, you want to attend to those things. Call the GP, phone the doctor to come and have a look at them. Call 999, call 111, call the NHS 24. You want to do those things first. Then you want to check your resident who has got diabetes. You know you need to check their glucose level. If they are the ones on insulin, you want to check their glucose level before you start. Then they are the first person. Once you check their glucose level, you give them their meals. Those things are the first and most important things you do first. After you've done those things, you've given them their breakfast, those who are diabetic. If you've got those who are critically ill, you attend to them first. Then on my floor, even in the same care home, you can have different things going on different floors. What happens on the middle floor, top floor, may be different from what happens on your own floor. But this is what happens on my own floor. These are the things I'm telling you. So on my own floor, once I've done this, most time there's nothing to worry about as such in the morning. So even during that handover to your carers, you check. Wait, let's talk about how beautiful I look. I didn't speak up myself. Okay, so during the handover, that is when you, the nurse, in my home, we now check the uniform. You want to check that they're properly dressed, they're neatly dressed, everybody is carrying their name tag, their fob, everything is intact, and then there's a place to just sign to say yes. Then your carers will go to each resident and sit them up. There are some who have to come out of bed to sit, there are some who are already dressed by night staff, there are some who will still be sleeping. Remember, you cannot change who a resident is because of your own plan. Whatever they are, some residents from their home, they don't wake up early. Maybe all their life, they've always woken up by 11. Because they're in your home, you're not going to start waking them by 8. So you're going to obey, you're going to respect all their wish, do what they usually do. We usually have all this history known when they are admitted. So some don't wake up in the morning, we already know, and some all their life what they eat in the morning is cornflakes, milk. They have either sugar, no sugar. You know, you see, it's just interesting because at some point you know everything in your head. When you see your resident, all my residents on my floor, I know what they have: 2 sugars, 1 milk, coffee, tea. You know what they have for breakfast. Is it cornflakes? Is it cereal? Is it hot milk? Is it porridge? You know everything offhand. So you know which resident is going to wake up, you know who is not going to wake up. And sometimes they're too tired, you just leave them if they're still sleeping. And when they wake up, they have their own breakfast. But those who are going to be up, they will sit them up either in bed, out of bed, bring them to the dining. Everyone is organized. All this thing I'm telling you is still before 9 o'clock. Oh. I know it's looking very long, but it's just because I'm trying to explain very well. So after that,
Please watch
thank you for
part. The
watching.
video was
See
too
you
long.
in my next video.